Middlesbrough is a large industrial town situated on the south bank of the River Tees in North Yorkshire, England. The local council, a unitary authority, is Middlesbrough Borough Council. The town is often considered to extend beyond the council boundary into the neighbouring borough of Redcar and Cleveland. Whilst the Middlesbrough council area had 138,400 residents according to the Office for National Statistics, the Middlesbrough urban subdivision had a population of 174,700, which itself is part of the larger built-up area of Teesside and had an overall population of 376,333 at the 2011 census. Middlesbrough was governed by the County Council of the North Riding of Yorkshire until 1889, when it was created a county borough. In 1996, Cleveland was abolished, and Middlesbrough became a unitary authority, geographically within North Yorkshire. Erimus, in Latin, was chosen as Middlesbrough's motto in 1830, to signify the town's will to grow. It also recalls Fuimus, the motto of the Norman, Scottish Bruce family, who were lords of Cleveland in the Middle Ages. The town's coat of arms shows an azure lion, from the arms of the Bruce family, a star, from the arms of Captain James Cook, and two ships, representing shipbuilding and maritime trade. History. Early history. In 686, a monastic cell was consecrated by St. Cuthbert at the request of St. Hilda, abbess of Whitby, and in 1119 Robert Bruce, Lord of Cleveland and Annandale, granted and confirmed the Church of St. Hilda of Middleburg to Whitby. Up until its closure on the dissolution of the monasteries by Henry VIII in 1537, the church was maintained by 12 Benedictine monks, many of whom became vicars, or rectors, of various places in Cleveland. The importance of the early church at Middleburg, later known as Middlesbrough Priory, is indicated by the fact that, in 1452, it possessed 4 altars. After the Angles, the area became home to Viking settlers. Names of Viking origin are abundant in the area, for example, Ormsby, Stainsby, Maltby and Tollesby were once separate villages that belonged to Vikings called Orm, Stein, Malty and Toll, but now form suburbs of Middlesbrough. The name Middlesbrough is the earliest recorded form of Middlesbrough's name and dates to Anglo-Saxon times. While many of the aforementioned villages appear in the Domesday Book of 1086, other links persist in the area, often through school or road names, to now outgrown or abandoned local settlements, such as the medieval settlement of Stainsby, deserted by 1757, which amounts to little more today than a series of grassy mounds near the A19 road. Development. In 1801, Middlesbrough was a small farm with a population of just 25. During the latter half of the 19th century, however, it experienced rapid growth. The Stockton and Darlington Railway had been developed to transport coal from Witton Park Colliery in Shildon in County Durham, to the River Tees in the east. It had always been assumed by the investors that Stockton, as the then lowest bridging point on the River Tees, would be suitable to take the largest ships at the required volume. However, as the trade developed, and with competition from the Clarence Railway, which had established a new port on the north side of the river at Port Clarence, a better solution was required on the south side of the river. In 1828, the influential Quaker banker, coal mine owner and S&DR shareholder Joseph Pease sailed up the River Tees to find a suitable new site downriver of Stockton on which to place new coal staiths. As a result, in 1829 he and a group of Quaker businessmen bought the Middlesbrough farmstead and associated estate, some 527 acres of land, and established the Middlesbrough Estate Company. Through the company, the investors set about the development of a new coal port on the banks of the Tees nearby, and a suitable town on the site of the farm to supply the port with labour. By 1830 the S&DR had been extended to Middlesbrough and expansion of the town was assured. The small farmstead became the site of such streets as North Street, South Street, West Street, East Street, Commercial Street, Stockton Street and Cleveland Street, laid out in a gridiron pattern around a market square, with the first house being built in West Street in April 1830. The town of Middlesbrough was born. New businesses quickly bought up premises and plots of land in the new town, and soon shippers, merchants, butchers, innkeepers, joiners, blacksmiths, tailors, builders and painters were moving in. By 1851, Middlesbrough's population had grown from 40 people in 1829 to 7,600. The first coal shipping staiths at the port were constructed just to the west of the site earmarked for the location of Middlesbrough. The port was linked to the S&DR on the 27th of December 1830 via a branch that extended to an area just north of the current Middlesbrough railway station. The success of the port meant it soon became overwhelmed by the volume of imports and exports, and in 1839 work started on Middlesbrough Dock. Laid out by Sir William Cubitt, the whole infrastructure was built by resident civil engineer George Turnbull. After 3 years and an expenditure of £122,000, first water was let in on the 19th of March 1842, and the formal opening took place on the 12th of May 1842. On completion, the docks were bought by the S&DR. Industrialization ironstone was discovered in the Eastern Hills in 1850. In 1841, Henry Bolko, who had come to England in 1827, formed a partnership with John Vaughan, originally of Worcester, and started an iron foundry and rolling mill at Vulcan Street in the town. It was Vaughan who realized the economic potential of local ironstone deposits. Pig iron production rose tenfold between 1851 and 1856. The importance of the area to the developing iron and steel trade gave it the nickname Ironopolis. On the 21st of January 1853, Middlesbrough received its Royal Charter of Incorporation, giving the town the right to have a mayor, aldermen and councillors. Henry Bolkow became mayor in 1853. On the 15th of August 1867, a reform bill was passed, making Middlesbrough a new parliamentary borough. Bolkow was elected member for Middlesbrough the following year. For many years in the 19th century, Teesside set the world price for iron and steel. The steel components of the Sydney Harbour Bridge were engineered and fabricated by Dorman Long of Middlesbrough. The company was also responsible for the New Tyne Bridge in Newcastle. Several large shipyards also lined the Tees, including the Sir Railton Dixon and Company, which produced hundreds of steam freighters, including the infamous SS Mont Blanc, the steamship which caused the 1917 Halifax explosion in Canada. The population of Middlesbrough as a county borough peaked at almost 165,000 in the late 1960s, but has declined since the early 1980s. The 2011 population estimate for the borough was 138,400. The urban area estimate was 174,700. Irish migration to Middlesbrough. The 1871 census of England and Wales showed that Middlesbrough had the second highest percentage of Irish-born people in England after Liverpool. This equated to 9.2% of the overall population of the district at the time. Due to the rapid development of the town and its industrialization, there was much need for people to work in the many blast furnaces and steel works along the banks of the Tees. This attracted many people from Ireland, who were in much need of work, as well as people from Ireland. The Scottish, Welsh and overseas inhabitants made up 16% of Middlesbrough's population in 1871. Economy. Business in Middlesbrough is still dominated by the nearby chemical industry, which until 1995 in this locality was largely owned by Imperial Chemical Industries. The fragmentation of that company led to many smaller manufacturing units being owned and operated by a number of multinational organizations. The last part of ICI itself completely left the area in 2006, and the remaining companies are now members of the North East of England process industry. cluster. The port of Teesport, owned by PD Ports, is also vital to the economy of Middlesbrough, and the port owners have their offices in the town. Teesport is located 5.6 miles from the North Sea and 3.1 miles east of Middlesbrough, on the River Tees. Teesport is currently the third largest port in the United Kingdom, and amongst the 10th biggest in Western Europe, handling approximately 50 million tons of domestic and international cargo per year. The vast majority of these products are still related to the steel and chemical industries made by companies that are members of NEPIC. NEPIC is an industry-led economic cluster body that promotes the development and growth of the chemistry-based process industries around the Tees Valley and the wider region of northeast England. Middlesbrough also remains a stronghold for engineering-based manufacturing and engineering contract service businesses. It also has a growing reputation for developing digital businesses, particularly in the field of digital animation, as a result of spin-out activity in this new industry from the Middlesbrough-based Teesside University. Middlesbrough is served by its town centre, which consists of 4 shopping centres, the largest of which is the Cleveland Centre. The pedestrianised section of Linthorpe Road includes House of Fraser and Debenhams. The town centre has a variety of stores and some better ones for a town of its size. Second World War. Middlesbrough was the first major British town and industrial target to be bombed during the Second World War. The steel-making capacity and railways for carrying steel products were obvious targets. The Luftwaffe first bombed the town on 25 May 1940, when a lone bomber dropped 13 bombs between South Bank Road and the South Steel Plant. More bombing occurred throughout the course of the war, with the railway station put out of action for 2 weeks in 1942. By the end of the war, over 200 buildings had been destroyed within the Middlesbrough area. Areas of early and mid-Victorian housing were demolished and much of central Middlesbrough was redeveloped. Heavy industry was relocated to areas of land better suited to the needs of modern technology. Middlesbrough itself began to take on a completely different look. Green Howards. The Green Howards was a British Army infantry regiment very strongly associated with Middlesbrough and the area south of the River Tees. Originally formed at Dunster Castle, Somerset in 1688 to serve King William of Orange, later King William III. This famous regiment became affiliated to the North Riding of Yorkshire in 1782. As Middlesbrough grew, its population of men came to be a group most targeted by the recruiters. The Green Howards were part of the King's Division. On 6 June 2006, this famous regiment was merged into the New Yorkshire Regiment and are now known as 2 Yorks, the 2nd Battalion, the Yorkshire Regiment. There is also a Territorial Army Company at Stockton Road in Middlesbrough, part of 4 Yorks, which is wholly reserve. Governance. Middlesbrough was incorporated as a municipal borough in 1853. It extended its boundaries in 1866 and 1887, and became a county borough under the Local Government Act 1888. A Middlesbrough rural district was formed in 1894, covering a rural area to the south of the town. It was abolished in 1932, partly going to the county borough, but mostly going to the Stokesley rural district. In 1968, Middlesbrough became part of the county borough of Teesside, and in 1974 it became part of the non-metropolitan county of Cleveland until the county's abolition in 1996. When Middlesbrough became a unitary authority, the town now forms part of North Yorkshire for ceremonial purposes only. Politics. Currently the Middlesbrough constituency is represented by Andy MacDonald for Labour in the House of Commons. He was elected in a by-election held on 29 November 2012 following the death of previous Member of Parliament Sir Stuart Bell, who was the MP since 1983. Middlesbrough has been a traditionally safe Labour seat. The first Conservative MP for Middlesbrough was Sir Samuel Alexander Sadler, elected in 1900. Local government mayor. In 2002, Middlesbrough voted to have a directly elected mayor as head of the council. Ray Mallon, formerly a senior officer in Cleveland Police, was the first elected mayor, serving 3 terms of office beginning in 2002, 2007 and 2011. In May 2015, after Mallon stated he would not contest a 4th term, Dave Budd was voted in, narrowly defeating Andy Preston. Before having an elected mayor, the council had a ceremonial mayor. The functions of this office have been transferred to the office of Chair of Middlesbrough Council. The first mayor of Middlesbrough was the German-born Henry Bolkow in 1853. During the 20th century, encompassing introduction of universal suffrage in 1918 and changes in local government in the United Kingdom, the role of mayor changed. Unlike some other places with a city mayor and ceremonial mayor, the traditional civic and ceremonial functions of the mayor, including mayoral chains and robes, are now vested with the role now called Chair of Middlesbrough Council. The chair is still chosen by the council from amongst the elected councillors. For the year 2011-2012, the chair is Councillor Stephen Bloundell. Geography. The following list are the different wards, districts and suburbs that make up the Middlesbrough built-up area: Acklem, Earsham, Beckfield, Beechwood, Berwick Hills, Brambles Farm, Brookfield, Central Middlesbrough, Clerville, Colby Newham, Easterside, Eston *, Grangetown *, Gresham, Grove Hill, Hemlington, Cadder, Ladgate, Linthorpe, Martin in Cleveland, Martin Grove, Martin West, Middlehaven, Normanby *, North Ormsby, Nunthorpe, Ormsby, Pallister, Park End, Priestfields, Saltersgill, South Bank *, St. Hilda's, Stainton in Cleveland, Teesville *, Thorntree, Netherfields, Tollsby, Town Farm, West Lane, Winnie Banks. Climate. Middlesbrough has an oceanic climate typical for the United Kingdom, being sheltered by both the Lake District and Pennines to the west. Middlesbrough is in one of the relatively drier parts of the country, receiving on average 574 mm of rain a year. Temperatures range from mild summer highs in July and August, typically around 20 degrees Celsius, to winter lows in December and January falling to around 0 degrees Celsius. Transport. Middlesbrough is served well by public transport. Locally, Arriva Northeastern Stagecoach provide the majority of bus services, with National Express and Megabus operating long-distance coach travel from Middlesbrough bus station. Train services are operated by Northern Rail and First Trans-Pennine Express, the latter of which provides direct rail services to cities such as Leeds, York, Liverpool and Manchester. Departing from Middlesbrough railway station, Middlesbrough is served by a number of major roads including the A19, A66, A171, A172 and A174. In the past, Middlesbrough has been served by the Middlesbrough, Stockton and Thornaby Electric Tramways Company, Imperial Tramways Company, Middlesbrough Corporation Tramways, Teesside Rail List Traction Board and Teesside Municipal Transport. Landmarks. Located in the suburban former village of Acklem, Middlesbrough's oldest domestic building is Acklem Hall of 1678. Built by Sir William Hustler, it is also Middlesbrough's sole Grade I listed building. The Restoration Mansion, accessible through an avenue of trees off Acklem Road, has seen progressive updates through the centuries, making a captivating document of varying trends in English architecture. Via a 1907 Act of Parliament, Sir William Arrol and Co. of Glasgow built the Transporter Bridge, which spans the River Tees between Middlesbrough and Port Clarence. At 850 feet long and 225 feet high, is one of the largest of its type in the world, and one of only 2 left in working order in Britain. The bridge remains in daily use. It is a Grade 2 * listed building. Another landmark, the Tees Newport Bridge, a vertical lift bridge, opened further along the river in 1934. Newport Bridge still stands and is passable by traffic, but it can no longer lift the center section. The urban center of Middlesbrough remains home to a variety of architecture ranging from the Middlesbrough Institute of Modern Art, opened in January 2007 to replace a number of former outlying galleries, and Centre Northeast, formerly Corporation House, which opened in 1971. Many believe that there is a beauty to be found in the surrounding landscape of industry along the River Tees from Billingham to Wilton. The terraced Victorian streets surrounding the town centre are characterful elements of Middlesbrough's social and historical identity, and the vast streets surrounding Parliament Road and Abingdon Road are a reminder of the area's wealth and rapid growth during industrialisation. Middlesbrough Town Hall, designed by George Gordon Hoskins and built between 1883 and 1887, is a Grade 2 listed building, and a very imposing structure. Of comparable grandeur is the Empire Palace of Varieties, of 1897, the finest surviving theatre edifice designed by Ernest Runts in the UK. The first artist to star there in its guise as a music hall was Lily Langtry. Later it became an early nightclub, then a bingo hall, and is now once again a nightclub. Further afield, in Linthorpe, is the Middlesbrough Theatre, opened by Sir John Gielgud in 1957. It was one of the first new theatres built in England after the Second World War. The town includes England's only public sculpture by Claus Oldenburg, the Bottle Notes of 1993, which relates to Captain James Cook. Based alongside it today in the town's central gardens is the Middlesbrough Institute of Modern Art. Refurbished in 2006, is the Carnegie Library, dating from 1912. The Dorman Long Office on Zetland Road, constructed between 1881 and 1891, is the only commercial building ever designed by Philip Webb, the architect who worked for Sir Isaac Lothian Bell. Away from the town centre, at Middlehaven, stands the Temenos sculpture, designed by sculptor Anish Kapoor and designer Cecil Barmond. The steel structure, consisting of a pole, a circular ring and an oval ring, stands approximately 110 meters long and 50 meters high and is held together by steel wire. It was unveiled in 2010 at a cost of £2.7 million.